Hi and welcome to the next lesson in the series of subroutines and the stack. This time we are going to talk about calling conventions. Objectives of this lesson. We explore different methods for communicating with functions, and then we present different conventions for doing so. Let's begin with passing arguments, or how to pass arguments. Arguments are chunks of information that we pass into a function as input. Basically, this is what the function gets to work with. The function gets some information and then it has to produce a result. The information that it gets is the input, or the arguments. So far we have used only registers to pass arguments. And we also used registers to pass the result. You probably remember that we mostly use the EAX register to pass the result. We want to explore some different ways of passing arguments. Method number 1, registers. In this method, values are passed on some of the registers. This is what we've done so far, but I just want to emphasize that this is one of the options that you have. There are functions that are written that way, even in production code, in real code. Let's look at this example. We have this function called myfunc, which basically just subtracts two numbers. Whenever we want to call this function, we have to fill in the ECX and EDX registers first. In this example, we want to pass the arguments 5 and 2. Therefore, we move 5 into ECX and 2 into EDX, and only then we call the function. Inside the function, we extract the arguments by reading the values of ECX and EDX. This is pretty simple. This method or idea is sometimes referred to as the fast call. This method is very common in 64-bit long mode. It is less common in the x86 32-bit protected mode. The reason is that in the 64-bit long mode there are more registers, so we have more registers to work with. However, in 32-bit protected mode we only have a few registers. And then we really care about every register. We can't just waste them to pass arguments. It does sometimes happen that even in the 32-bit protected mode, we use this idea of fast call, of passing the arguments on the registers. But this usually only happens with functions that do not call any other functions. Because if we had to call more functions this way, we will soon run out of registers. In the 64-bit long mode, there are many registers, so this kind of call is pretty common. Method number 2, global data. In this method, values are passed through a global memory location. Again, we have the same myfunc function, but this time it takes arguments differently. In order to pass arguments to this function, we declare two global dwords in the BSS section, called arg1 and arg2. We could call them whatever we like, but this is just an example. Whenever we want to call the myfunc function, we first have to initialize arg1 and arg2 with the values that we want to pass. In this example, we want to pass 5 and 2 as arguments. Therefore, we pass 5 into arg1 and 2 into arg2. Only then we call the function. Inside the function, we extract the values from arg1 and arg2, and then we do the necessary work, which is here just a simple subtraction. I have to tell you my opinion about this method. In my opinion, it is pretty ugly. It does work, but I think that it is pretty ugly, and I will try to explain. The way I see functions, at least in my opinion, functions should stand by their own. So, as an example, if I take a piece of code which is a function and put it somewhere else, I expect it to work even in a different code base. But here, if I want to move my func to another file or to another project, I have to take this declaration with me, which makes this function not very independent. Another point is that if we have many functions, or maybe if we nest many calls, which means that maybe my func calls some other function and that function calls another function. In that case, we'll have to add many such argd words in the BSS section, which is going to be very unfortunate. We don't want to have all those arguments. We will have to manage them somehow, so we will not confuse, and this could be hard. So this method actually works, but it is not very common these days. Maybe 10 or 20 years ago, you could actually find this kind of code, but nowadays you don't find this kind of code. Method number 3, the stack. By now you probably saw it coming. The stack is such a useful structure. We use it for so many things. Why not pass arguments over the stack? Again, we have this function, myfunc, which as usual just subtract two numbers. But this time it takes the numbers from the stack. Whenever we want to call this function, whenever we want to call myfunc, we have to push the arguments. Let's see how we call this function in this case. We push two arguments. First we push 5 and then 2 into the stack. Then we call myfunc, which will somehow deal with those arguments. And finally, we have this instruction, add ESP8, which is supposed to clean the stack somehow. Let's look at myfunc. As usual, we just have a move and sub instruction, but the new part is here. dword ESP plus 8 or dword ESP plus 4. You might be surprised to see this kind of syntax. Maybe you didn't expect that ESP could be used in this fashion, but it could. In fact, ESP is a pretty much usual register. Besides its special purpose, it could be used just like any other register. Basically, whatever you think that you can do with EAX or EBX, you could probably also do it with ESP. You might be also wondering how come we access numbers from the middle of the stack. How come we are allowed to do this? Earlier we said that the stack is only about pushing and popping. So what's with this statement? Well, in theory, the stack only allows you to push and pop. But in practice, for efficiency reasons, you could access elements in the middle of the stack. Let's try to follow the code and see exactly what happens inside the stack. We begin with this drawing of the stack where ESP points to some dword. I remind you that 0, the address 0 is somewhere at the top, and the addresses increase as we go down. Let's begin. First we push 5 into the stack, and then 2. Next we call myfunc, which basically is going to push the return address, which is the address of this instruction, to the stack, and then immediately jump to myfunc. I mark the return address as ret address. I just didn't want to write here some arbitrary number. So imagine that this expression stands for the address of this instruction, adsp8. Next we continue inside myfunc. Now we are going to move into EAX, the dword at address ESP plus 8. This is a moment to think. We have to think, what does ESP plus 8 and ESP plus 4 represent? We can just write those here. And now we understand that if ESP points here, then ESP plus 4 and ESP plus 8 point to those two D words. So ESP plus 8 points to the D word 5, which is this argument. So we load 5 into EAX. Next we subtract from EAX the value at ESP plus 4 in memory, which is just 2. So the result expected is going to be 5 minus 2, which is 3. Finally, we use the return address to go back to this instruction, add ESP8, which is the first instruction after the call. And now we have this instruction, add ESP8, which is supposed to somehow clean the stack. You might be wondering, what is the meaning of this number 8? Let me explain. Originally we pushed 2 arguments into the stack. Each of those arguments is a D word, which means that we have pushed 2 D words, which are exactly 8 bytes. Therefore, we have to balance the stack by adding 8 to ESP in the end. And indeed we got that ESP now points to the location which it pointed to originally, before the code began. I want to talk a bit about this syntax of ESP plus 8 and ESP plus 4. Let's go back for a moment to the time where this instruction was executed. At this point, we want to subtract the 2 arguments. Let's try to figure out how to do it without using this kind of direct access. Which means that how could we do it only using pop and push instructions? If we wanted to access those 2 numbers, 2 and 5, we would first have to pop ret address, and only then we could pop 2 and 5. In the end of the function, we would have to put ret address back to the stack to be able to return. If we forget to put this back, we won't be able to return to the correct location. So this is pretty much a hassle. We have to pop ret address and then pop the 2 arguments, and finally we have to push ret address again if we want to do it the pop and push way. A much more efficient way would be to just access those values directly. Regarding the stack, I think that this is where theory and practice differ. In theory, you can only push and pop, but in practice, you can really do whatever you want with the memory. The stack is just a location in memory, so I can access any D word that I want inside the stack.